What's up, fam? Dr. O here. So I've recently learned, look, I don't follow Kendrick Lamar's tour schedule or anything like that. So I recently learned that Kendrick Lamar performed in Rwanda in 2023 as part of a Move Africa tour. And I'm seeing that John Legend is also scheduled to be performing in Rwanda. This is extremely problematic. And the problem is that some people say, well, people on the ground shouldn't be rewarded for the actions of the government. But let's talk about Kendrick Lamar and John Legend specifically. These are two people who many look at, I do as well, as activists, people who are doing work, who take pride in their blackness in their community and uplift it through their music and songs, and of course, John Legend through their work. But blackness is a global thing. It's a diaspora thing. And if people want to talk about Kendrick Lamar was doing all of this great stuff, uplifting black women and protecting black women in his lyrics, talking about, don't let these, what do you say, white comedians, I don't know the lyrics, disrespect black women on your shows or whatever, or having Serena Williams come up and perform at the Super Bowl and showing a stance of protecting black women and all of the black people on the stage and all of that, but not say anything about him performing in a country that is responsible for rape and genocide and pillage in Congo for the second time around in the last 20, 30 years. That's extremely problematic. And Paul Kagame, the president of Rwanda, who's a darling of the United States, who's a darling of the NBA, is on stage at that concert and standing on stage with Kendrick Lamar at the end. This is that soft power that I was talking about. And so this is very problematic. John Legend, the same thing. John Legend, great activist, does incredible work in our community, but I often see a disconnect between black celebrities and the work that they do in the United States and the connections they have with the African continent. And it needs to be called out. And if they're not aware, they need to be educated on that. And yes, countries like Rwanda, countries like Nigeria are going to give a great payday, but they're violating human rights. Just last week, several women, like 20 women were raped and burned to death in Congo by these M23, rebels who are being sponsored by Rwanda. That Paul Kagame says, he knows nothing about. John Legend, you should not be performing there. The money's not worth it. And I've also seen this over the years. We can go back to the 2000s. Some of these rappers who are considered like the conscious and political rappers and so on and so forth. And, they go to Africa over some of these like Black August events and treat Africans like crap. It's not cool. It's not cool. And I was one of the people who thought, Kendrick Lamar did a great performance and there was great symbolism in this halftime show. But Kendrick Lamar has been very good for symbolism as it relates to black things, which is also important, no doubt about it. But where's the on the ground, public, visible stuff that he's doing, particularly as it relates to black women, right? This is a man who did not endorse Kamala Harris for president, right? We want to talk about protecting and respecting and uplifting black women, did not do that. People say, well, the song Freedom was played. That was a Beyonce song. And yes, Kendrick's verse played and so on and so forth. But, where's the real direct stance? Now, if he's not going to be the guy to do that, then fine. We accept people with, I want more from our artists. I've always demanded more from our artists. I figure if I can do it, they could too. But let's not have these guys be portrayed as like, saviors of our community. If they're going to and let's not act like there's no misogyny in any of, or misogynoir, which is, misogyny directed at black women in any of Kendrick's music. Let's look at these people in their totality. The fact of the matter is, love them or hate them, savior for you, whatever, legend or whatever, GOAT, all of the other type of stuff, you should be also demanding that people like Kendrick Lamar, John Legend, should not be performing in places where black women are being violated by that government and are being targeted and destroyed, and entire communities being destroyed by that government. Rwanda right now is an exporter of minerals that don't even come out of that country because they're stealing them from Congo. And they're making their way into the cell phones and PlayStations and Xboxes and things that you're watching this on right now. John Legend, who's done incredible work in the community and who, in my opinion, is an activist, endorses candidates that represent our community, needs to know about this. And I believe that if he was to learn about this, he would not be performing in Rwanda. And Global Citizen and all these other organizations that are doing stuff to embrace somebody who's committing acts of genocide. Like, how is a Congolese fan of Kendrick Lamar supposed to view what's happening right now? How is a Congolese fan of John Legend supposed to view what's happening right now? This is ridiculous. And people don't know what they don't know. But at the end of the day, it's our job to educate and inform these artists, because when people know better, they're supposed to do better. So yeah, I'm calling out Kendrick Lamar. I'm calling out John Legend, and I don't know of the others. I know there are others. This is kind of new to me in terms of this. My entire life, I've wanted the artists that I love and appreciate or listen to or have a great respect for to go and bridge the gap with Africans on the continent. Being Congolese American is something I've always wanted to see. I've dreamt of that day, for people to come together in unity. This is a nightmare scenario, however. And until these things change, we need to start calling these people out. And one of the reasons people don't get called out is because people are not aware. Oh, y'all ain't aware of what's going on in places like Congo and Rwanda's government and what they're doing. This is an example of Paul Kagame exerting soft power and getting people to see that he's a cool guy, he's a nice guy, embracing hip hop and so on and so forth. And y'all should not be standing for it. We should not be standing for it. We should demand people like Kendrick Lamar and John Legend and others who y'all could probably cite here educate themselves. And we need to have international black solidarity. So if you don't know about the Congo, go to organizations like friendsofthecongo.org and sign up for the listserv. Find out what's going on. No artist should be supporting that. During the apartheid movement, black artists would not play places like Sun City in South Africa. We should be doing the same things right now. We should be, look that up. Look that up. We should be doing the same things right now. Where's the conscience with these artists? Where's the international conscience with these artists? They should be doing that right now. And look, if these guys, the Kendricks and the John Legend and stuff, don't know, fine, right? This performance already happened with Kendrick Lamar. John Legend is coming up or whatever. But as Dr. Maya Angelou said, when you know better, you're supposed to do better. We got to make sure that these guys know better so that they can do better. All right, let's go upstanders. Peace.